AskReddit by Puzzled Painter 3301. What's a sign that someone grew up poor? Never replacing anything unless there's absolutely no way to use the old thing anymore, and going to absurd lengths to keep something still usable. Never buying clothing at full price. It just feels illegal. No one should do that, poor or not. Full priced clothes are always a ripoff. Odd hoarding behaviors of things you probably should have gotten rid of out of fear you won't be able to replace them easily. I keep a stack of boxes broken down because there's still this fear in the back of my mind that I'll have to move again at a moment's notice. I make a decent salary now and have lived where I am for nearly 7 years, but I still can't part with those boxes despite the space they take up. Under the bed, behind the chest of drawers, yeah, I still have them. I have a box from our Christmas party at work under my desk, and one of the other ladies asked me today why I still had it. All I could say was, it's a good box. Scanning the menu for the cheapest options possible when at a restaurant. It's okay, the soup is really enough for me. I was invited to go to Disney World with my best friend in high school. I did that for the first part of the week in every restaurant we went to, usually ordering a cheeseburger while my friend and his parents were ordering big ass steaks and all sorts of seafood. My friend's dad stopped me when we were walking back to the hotel and asked if I was a picky eater. I told him no. He asked why I kept ordering the same thing every time we went out. I said, well, that's what I usually order when I go out to eat, and didn't want to order anything more expensive because it wasn't my money. He kinda chuckled, assured me that he wasn't going to run out of money, and permanently banned me from ordering a cheeseburger when I was on a trip with them unless we went to somewhere that specialized in burgers. I spent the rest of that trip eating lobster, crab and steak. Edit. Fixed fat finger mistake. Difficulty throwing things away. But we might be able to reuse this. For me, I have what I call poverty mentality. While I can afford new shoes and clothes, they have to be falling apart for me to replace. I will do something like go ahead and buy the new pair of shoes, but keep them stored until the current shoes become completely, 100% non-functional. I let my shoes get so bad one time that my friends offered to buy me a new pair. That made me feel bad. I have good friends. I grew up poor and my husband grew up middle class. Whenever we have guests, I am constantly asking people if they got enough food. Is anyone still hungry? I can make something else. My husband will inquire about the quality of the food and if it is to everyone's liking. I think when you grow up poor, food is very much quantity over quality. My fiance's parents grew up poor and they are so generous now, whether it's with food or gifts. They stock up on fruit and cookies I like before we visit. If I finish my plate before them, they'll offer me food off of their plate. They always make sure I have enough. Immense financial anxiety. Literally. I still get anxious when I spend money on literally anything, including bills and food, which are essentials. Still being marveled by an ice maker and side-by-side doors. I'm in a place in my life now where my fridge has 2 ice makers and I feel so fancy. Ice for days. No ice trays. In the US I'd say poor dental history or teeth dental work is a luxury. Overall, I'd say many hoarders grew up poor because they are so afraid of not having something if they'll need it, so they keep everything. I didn't grow up super poor, more lower middle class. We were not housing or food insecure, but there wasn't much for extras. As far as dental work, it was basically emergency only. I always thought that people who could afford braces were pretty well off. I paid for my own as an adult, and made sure that all of my kids had them. My older sister hasn't been so fortunate. She is missing a lot of teeth and has full bottom dentures. She would have to become very wealthy at this point in her life to overcome the damage that's already been done. To me, teeth are a status symbol in the US. People with straight, white teeth that are their own teeth are either lucky or they have been able to pay for it. Realizing I wanted to have a house that all my kids' friends came over to hang out at because that wasn't really an option for big chunks of my childhood. Oof, I still don't have people over. I once had one of my rich best friend over for New Year's dinner. His living room and my entire apartment, including balcony, were the same size. I want that big house, but not too big because that makes me anxious for some reason. Lack of exposure to cultural events, missing out on experiences that others may take for granted, such as attending concerts, traveling, or participating in extracurricular activities. I think my personal favorite is all my friends asking me, what do you mean you've never been there? It's only an hour away, even traveling short distances is too much money. Will eat all of the food on their plate, even after feeling full because they can't waste food. This one is really difficult to break. For me at least. I wasn't in the know with all the cool Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon shows. But I did watch Arthur, Cybercase, Clifford and Dragon Tales. Those PBS shows were the best. Spending any windfall money. The bone-deep certainty that money will just go away. There will always be another surprise bill or the car will break down. If you get some extra money, you buy the kids a trampoline because for once you don't have to say no, we can't afford that. I'm very glad to see this answer. I've seen a lot of I don't spend money because I never had it, and that's fine, but there's a very real backside to that same coin. I grew up pretty poor. As an adult I have an issue with spending money as soon as I get it because I'm afraid it'll go away. It's caused some tension between my wife and I at times. Like, I don't know if we will have the money later. I want to buy all the Pokemon cards for the kids while we have the money because they're really getting into it, and my anxiety brain is afraid we won't have money to do it later. I have poverty toes. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so shoes were worn until they died, regardless of fit. My toes are curled and with prominent knuckles from being scrunched into too small shoes. I blamed my mom for my fucked up toes from wearing shoes too narrow. Then I had kids, and what the hell, they came out with the same fucking toes, having never worn a shoe in their short life. I owe my mom an apology. Turning down most social occasions. When I was particularly broke I pretty much had no social life due to the guilt of not being able to afford a round etc. A friend back in HS really got my back on this. It started with McDonald's. He'd ask if I was hungry, I said I didn't have any money, and he's like, that's not what I asked. That was 2002. To this day he's always been like, hey, our Ramstein is coming to Chicago, us tour 2022, you wanna go? And I was like, aren't tickets like $200? He replied with, I didn't ask you how much were the tickets, you wanna go or not? Lol. Still being poor. Great answer. The mental struggle to buy anything and not feel guilty. I will think about something that would improve my life for 3 months before I buy it, but I can impulsively buy food, alcohol, or something stupid in a heartbeat. When I was in elementary school, a girl asked me why all my shirts were just solid color and not brand name logo shirts. Made me feel insecure. So I'm going to go with an obvious answer here, clothing and style. I still wear my clothes until they have holes and stains. I have the money to buy new brand name clothes, but why? I'm not trying to impress anyone. Deleted. One day my girlfriend asked me why I'm washing Ziploc bags. I told her so we can reuse them later. It was only after the following discussion and some thinking that I realized it's not very normal. I do this mostly because it seems insane to me to keep throwing them away and buying new ones because a couple of breadcrumbs touch them. It's also more environmentally friendly. I only throw them away if they won't seal, break, or had something smelly go bad in them. I even use them for storage. It might not be normal, but it's very sensible. Just my abnormal opinion. In USMC recruit training we had a dude in our platoon who was homeless for an extended period of time before enlisting. Every morning at 0:30 the DIs would come and turn the light on, screaming. Total chaos to wake us all up. Every single morning for the first 30 days or so of basic this dude slept right through it. Dude managed to sleep through good old lights. I hope he made guide. Deleted. Word to the wise for people who do this, like myself, the adhesive on the lid of Chick-fil-A sauces breaks down faster than other sauces like McDonald's, so store them accordingly unless you want Polynesian and Chick-fil-A sauce all over your other condiments. I grew up very poor, but now I'm doing quite well. I can't throw away shoes. I just accumulate athletic shoes. They go from running shoes to everyday shoes to working in the yard shoes. And then eventually my wife throws them away. I don't know why, but I can't do it. They are still good enough. I might need them one day. Edit. Thanks, all. But what if I might need to re-wear them someday? I could get my current shoes wet, or ruined, or they could wear out and fall apart. The old ones still have some life left in them. Fear of spending money on anything or having anything nice. Having duplicates of essentials. You develop a prepper mentality for every just-in-case situation. The amount of my shelf-stable pantry goods are 100% a result of this. Deleted. If you're not bleeding or unconscious, you're not going. My parents' thoughts on medical care growing up in rural Kansas. Missing teeth, and the other results of a lack of being able to go to the dentist. Currently dealing with an abscess due to years of non-existent dental care. Lots of Cool Whipper damp, country crock containers. Even though I now have money and things I want, I'm too scared to buy them because having money for bills and stuff is a luxury for me.